Okay, let's get your knees happy. So we're going to cover prevention and then treatment. So starting with prevention, there's a bunch of ways that you can keep your knees feeling good. One is the simple act of sitting down or coming into a squat. So rather than getting into a deep knee bend right away with all the weight in your legs, find a way to get your hands on the floor. So there's a lot of weight in your arms there. Did a little dance on the way down there. So not a lot of weight on your knees as you come down. And then you can take a seat there. Not a lot of weight in the feet. Knees are easy here. And then when you get back up to sit, explore. You may come off to one side. Got a lot of weight in my arms there. A lot of weight in my hands. I'm just rolling around, finding a way that I can move my body easily to get my hips back up. And then my hands back up to my thighs. And then I'm rolling up. And then I'm up. So there's always a way to find in your body a way that's easy, a way that doesn't hurt. So unlike this, coming down to a deep knee squat, sitting down, that's just not good at all. You want to live to my age and beyond with happy knees. That's not going to get you there. So same thing with getting up, rocking forward, putting that sudden weight on your knees all of a sudden on a very vulnerable joint in your body, not a great idea. You always want to just put weight gradually. So weight in your arms as you come down right into a squat. Weight in your arms as you come to sit there. And just always movable, so you can do that wiggle test and make sure there's not a lot of weight. And then exploring around getting up. So I'm just looking for, okay, now this feels good. This feels like a good way to get up. And your way might look different, but you can always find it. There is always a way in your body, how you're feeling each day, to do what you need to do without putting a shock to your system anywhere, including your knees. So now we're going to cover some common yoga poses, also athletic positions where you might not be all that great on your knees. So knee coming forward of your ankle there, not a great idea. With the back knee down, it's not the worst, but you want the knee to feel free. You don't want to have your knee feel like there's a whole lot of tension on it. So always movable as you go through these twists and lunges and playing around, rocking side to side. Notice my knees moving there. That means there's not a huge amount of weight on my foot, not a huge amount of weight on the knee. Same when I come up to a single leg forward bend there. I'm just getting ready for a low lunge. I scooted my left foot to the left there, so I have a little bit more stable base side to side. And then I'm lifting up. And I'm just easy. I rolled my back foot down there because I'm going to widen my stance a little bit. I moved my back foot over. I moved my left foot to the left. I can bring my hands down and do the same thing. You want to start comfortable. So hands on the ground, feet are comfortable, you feel pretty stable, and then you come on up. So that's the first thing, is to keep your knees happy. If you're struggling for balance nonstop, your knees aren't going to be happy. You just want to be where you can be easy. So same thing with the knee. You don't want to have that knee forward of the ankle back there. You want it right over, even a little behind the ankle. Then every inhale lifts you up out of where you are. Just like that. Breathing in, up. And then exhale, softening down. So rather than holding tense and low, you're always, every single breath, taking a little weight out of your knees. Every breath out, a little weight in. And then we're just doing a warrior 3 here. So we'll do that again. This is a way of moving forward into a warrior 3. So that one way, if you come from low, your knee's coming right over your ankle. That's not good, because moving is at least as important as posing. Another way to come forward from a lunge into warrior 3 is you lift up and you lead with your belly, with your chest. Notice my knee barely comes forward of my ankle that way. So if you're low and lead with your knee, you're going to be in bad news. A lot of tension into your knee there, a lot of stress. If you're lifting up high out of a low lunge, you're breathing your hips up, and then you lead with your belly, lead with your chest, much happier. And then everything you move through, always pay attention. How do my knees feel? Are they under sudden stress and strain? Or are they always pretty easygoing? Can I always pretty much move in every direction that I would possibly want to move? So we're bringing around again, coming into warrior 2 this time. This is another place where the knee could be forward or side to side of the ankle, so that I was inside the ankle. Right now I'm getting in a really long warrior 2, which is, you often see people do this. So my back foot is facing right towards us. That back knee there, the weight on my back knee is in a direction that knee joint does not want to bend. Forget that. You don't want to be stretching, lengthening your ligaments over time. So shorten your warrior 2. Make it movable. Put a bend in that back knee. Point your toes to face about 45 degrees forward, those back toes. So now, as you sink a little into your warrior two, the weight on that back knee is in a direction that the joint naturally bends. So when you're coming forward, you don't want the knee to come forward. You don't want it leaning inside. You want the knee right over that front ankle or a little behind it. You want the back knee angled a little forward so the weight on the joint in the back knee is in a direction that it naturally bends, not on the side of the knee. And then you move. Every breath lifts you out of where you are. Every breath out softens you. Let's tip back to a reverse. Front leg lengthens. And then moving to warrior three, when you do it that way, you can just bowl here. So reach back, hips lift, legs lengthen, and then pull on through, leading with your chest. My knee is barely forward of the ankle, and I could do this all day long happy. I am not stressing my body. I'm not straining it. I'm leading, just pulling myself forward, leading with my chest. That was all set up, and now I'm just playing. So you always want to play in a way that your knees are movable. You roll around, put a little bend in that standing knee. And this is also just a really good way to get a strong knee. You want to move easily in every direction you can around that whole joint. So if you play rather than hold stiff and tense in poses, you can get a much happier knee that way. And then here we're back in a warrior two. Inhaling, lifting a little, taking the stress out of your knees. Exhale, softening in a little bit. Still relaxed, never locking the knees. Inhale, lift. And then we're just going to do this again. Let's bowl together. So reach back and then pull forward. And then bring it on back. Easy knees. Inhale, reach back, hips lift, legs lengthen. And exhale forward. Inhale, pull into your warrior three. Let's try that again. Big inhale to reach back, front leg straight. Exhale through center, and inhale pulls you forward, warrior three. Now you can do a little wiggly warrior here. You can roll through half moons and revolved half moons. You can come up for a little bouncy roll around knee hug. So easy. And then if you wanted to play with a half moon, roll around that too. So you can hold your half moon still. But you just also want to get to know all around your joints. So put a little wiggle in whatever you're doing. It's going to make for a nice, happy, healthy knee. Especially if you're not in a deep knee bend while you're doing it. You want to be up pretty high, pretty relaxed. So this is a less movable way to come forward. If you're in a warrior two to a half moon, forget that. You know, that didn't feel good on your knee. You know when it doesn't feel good. So pay attention to how you feel. How you feel is relevant. You always want to bring it back, hips lift, leg lengthened, and then pull forward. So it's easy. This is not hard to do. I am not trying hard. All of a sudden, coming forward to a warrior three, no longer a difficult thing. If you were low and leading with your knee instead of leading with your upper body, like I'm doing there, leading with your knee, it won't feel good. So you're rolling around a half moon here. I'm just getting to know my hips and giving a little wiggle to my movement there, just to get into the joint, getting all around. You could bounce around. If you feel like falling, you just drop the foot down. You come down easy. Don't hold against falling. If you fight against moving, you're going to lose. So let your body move and let what you do be soft. When you come back from a half moon to a warrior two, it's easy. See? Put a little wiggle. And when you wiggle, if your whole body moves, your body's happy to move. That's where you want to be. If you wiggle and nothing moves, body isn't happy to move. Make it happy. So next thing, let's come down to sitting hips to heels. Sitting up on your toes is kind of nice because it's a little easier on your knees. Sitting on your heels is kind of nice because it's a little easier on your feet, but we care more about your knees really. So if you feel like you're getting a pull on your knee, now we're going to do something. You got to give even more of a pull. This hero pose, and then even worse, the reclining hero. So, you know, for people who have been doing yoga a while, often the tendency is more. I want more opening in my knee. I want more opening in this or that. Not something you want. Your knee is not something that you want to stretch, ever. Your knee is something that wants to be balanced. So I'm just shaking that off. You do not want to lengthen ligaments. You want them to just be right where they are. Unless we're talking about you were in a car accident. That's a different thing. But for a healthy body, you want a balance between stability and mobility. So if you throw out that reclining hero, you're going to be a whole lot happier. Keep your knees not stretching. Keep them happy. So next pose, we're in it now. Ankle to knee. You don't have to hurry to ankle to knee. So often when you're an athlete, if you got strong hips, If you start getting into hip openers, your knees are going to lose in that battle. So if you push into a hip opener, it's going to be very hard on those stabilizing ligaments that are responsible for keeping your knee happy on the sides there. So for an ankle to knee, you can start just cross-legged, lean back and forward. If you want to bring your ankle up on your knee, the knee can stay up in the air and then roll all around it. Don't be goal-oriented of going straight forward. Don't push the knee down. Forget that. The knee wants to hang up in the air. Ah, look at that. My knee's hanging up in the air. I'm going to wrap my hands around it. I'm going to play with it. I'm going to give it a squeeze. Take advantage of wherever your body is. Get into you wherever you are. You don't need to push anything anywhere. And keep paying attention to how you feel. If the knee wants to come down at some point, sure, it'll come down. And you can flex those toes. You can draw your toes back towards your shins in those positions as a way of keeping it stable. Now this one, holding your foot to bring it in, forget that too. You don't want to hold the end of a lever and then cause it to move. That's going to compromise your knee if you hold your foot. So what I'm doing here instead, I'm holding my thigh, I'm kind of playing around. Then I hook the foot on the behind my knee there, just on my thigh. I can play around with that a little bit. So not in a hurry to get anywhere. If you bring that calf up in this cradling position that I'm in now, if the first way you get there is by grabbing the foot and pulling it in, a lot of sudden stress on the knee. If you take your time, start with the thigh, and then you have your hands around the knee, and then gradually you bring it up to cradle, there's nothing sudden on the knee. So you're going to have knees that thank you. Here's another way to get into your hips that can be much easier on your knees. It's a cow face, or I just call it knee to knee. So you can walk forward to come into that, and then you might walk back and sit on your butt. Your butt might be up in the air. Doesn't much matter. You're finding your way into you. You're finding what's comfortable, and that might be different every single day. So every single day you get to find something different. It's part of the fun. All right, so that's ankle to knee and knee to knee. Now this pigeon. So often you'll see people trying to make their shin parallel to the front of their mat. They're getting everything squared up, lined up, and then they're coming straight forward. They're trying to get it just everything down to the ground. Forget that. That's not going to make for a happy pigeon. That is not a pigeon that you're going to want to make friends with. So instead, sit on your left hip. Make sure the calf is free to move around. And then just find yourself into something comfortable. So I'm staying sitting on my left hip. This is, again, something really great for athletes, great for people with strong hips. And I'm free to move here. So I've got weight in my arms, and I just wiggled side to side. And you always want to do that test. Am I happy moving from where I am? Or have I put myself someplace where my body is not happy? It is not movable. If you find yourself in one of those places, come on out of it. Always find a place where you're happy to be. So that's curling around the thigh. And then I'm going to just show this on the other side, because this one's really important. You're going to be in this. It's a great hip opener, whether you're a runner, athlete, you're doing lots of yoga. You're going to see this one a lot. So again, movable. I've got weight in my arms. I can shimmy around. I'm not trying to make that shin parallel to the front of the mat. And I'm sitting on my right hip here. So now the hip opener is completely about my hip and is in no way going to challenge the knee. And you can stay upright in a pigeon like that. You can come down. Here I'm dropping my left shoulder as I lift my right. And that gets a nice belly curl, a nice twist around that right thigh there. And you can head way over to the right. You can be more straightforward. You can stay upright. Keep exploring. You want to get into all of you bit by bit. Not the same pose every time. All of you. So that's pigeon. Now I'm going to come down into a split just for fun. Because, this is another thing where you don't often think of your knees here. But if you're forcing into a split, forget that. That's not going to be good for your knees. Not going to be good for your hamstrings either. So always start easy, not in a hurry to get somewhere. Keep yourself where you're movable. Here I've got a good amount of weight in my arms, because if I'm trying to open up and relax my legs, I don't want them holding all of my weight. And I'm movable. I've got a lot of weight on my left hand as I come to the left, a lot on my right hand as I come to my right. I'm feeling my way around me. At no point am I trying to bring my legs locked tight. As soon as something's locked tight, that's when it becomes injurable. And if you were trying to hurt yourself, you would make everything in your body stiff and tense, and then you try to move from stiff and tense. You don't want to hurt yourself. You want to have a happy body. So the more you can keep your body movable and relaxed, it's very hard to injure yourself when you're doing two things. One is staying movable and relaxed, and the other is paying attention to how you feel. Because if something doesn't feel good, you know when it doesn't feel good. If you do it anyway, that's when you get hurt. So you have a lot of power here just to follow how you feel. So we're coming around to a forward fold here. And now we're starting to get into healing. So a good way of taking care of a knee that's bothering you, start by getting into your lower back and your hips like we were doing. This is a nice twist around in your lower back. Anytime something hurts, there's a lot of tension that will radiate out from where the hurt thing is. So releasing in your back and then releasing in your hips is going to start to trigger your body's relaxation response and will kick you into healing mode and get your body out of stiff and tense mode. Here I'm just playing around. I'm giving some attention to the thigh. I might dig my thumbs in. I might find some spots along my calf, up and down, along the inside and the outside. Just giving it a little wiggle, seeing if there's some places that feel good to squeeze. You know, you could study shiatsu, you could get the textbooks, you could spend a lot of time figuring out where all the points are. Or you could just play. Again, you know how you feel. And there's a whole lot you can do. You know, maybe 80% of the way there in healing if you just play around, try some things, give yourself a wiggle, give yourself a squeeze. Find ways like I'm doing here where you can start to help your body release, relax, and let go out of defense mode. Because when your whole leg is tight right up into your back, it's going to be a lot harder for your knee to heal. Your knee is defending against injury. If you can help convince your knee that, okay, it's safe now, you can relax, we can restore good circulation, and we can trigger a whole cascade of healing effects in your body, that's when you can heal. That's when things are going to start to come back into line for you. So now I'm on my back. I like this one, just supporting the knee with my hands. And now I'm playing around with one leg. That down leg can be extended long or it can be like that. I'm just playing around here, giving it a wiggle. No weight on the knee here. So this is a nice place that you can restore mobility without strain. And the leg can be up, kind of supporting it. You're going to find in your own body different days, depending on what kind of injury, what kind of tweak or hurt you have, different ways that feel good to you. So now I'm supporting my ankle right around the calf, lower calf on the outside of my left thigh there. This is just a nice place to give my left knee a hug. You know, you can find those spots. Now I'm just have my hands around the knee, even just getting some warmth to the area. You can do that with hot water bottles. You can do it with your hands, just paying some attention. This is going to go a long way, just finding where you can relax and put your hands on a knee. It's going to go a long way to helping your body say, hey, we're safe now. This wouldn't be happening if we had to brace for impact. This is happening because we can just be easy and we can enter healing mode. So bringing your hands to that, to the knee, wherever it hurts, surrounding an area that hurts, that's going to help you a whole lot. It's a concept called surrounding the dragon. You don't want to go right for an injury. If something hurts in your knee, you don't want to dig your thumb into it. You want to relax a whole surrounding area. So again, right side here. I'm just supporting with my left hand behind the knee. I'm cradling with my right arm. I'm going to open the hip off to the side. I'm not only interested in the knee when the knee hurts. I'm interested in my back. I'm interested in my hips, my thighs, my calves. So I'm going to be doing everything I can to relax all around the knee. And also to very gently, not dig my thumbs into where it hurts on the knee, but just put my hands on the knee. Bring some warmth to the area. Bring some comfort to the area. So I'm doing a couple of things. One is by moving around everything I've got in every direction I can, all around an injured area, I'm helping to restore some easy mobility, some easy circulation. But in putting my hands gently around the area also, I'm introducing some warmth to the area, which does a lot to relax. This is another thing I really like to do. I'm rolling almost back to a plow and supporting just above the knee with my elbows. That can be a way of relaxing the thighs and just hanging, again with not a lot of weight, no weight on the knees, and just letting them be. Now I've rolled down, my ankles are crossed, I'm giving myself a hug. Another super safe place to be. You know, you might not If your knee is hurting, you might have your arms behind the knee. That's another way to do it, so you're not in as deep a knee bend. You're going to play here. You're going to find what feels good to you every step along the way. And now I'm going to come into a twist. So I'm coming over to the left, supporting behind my right knee. This can be a really nice position for the leg here. Maybe you want the leg open, maybe you want it a deeper bend. Play around, try things. Just releasing in my lower back, releasing in my hip. I'm going to come over to the right side now. So I've got my hand hooked around, supporting the left knee as it comes across with my right hand there. You'll find your own ways to do this, but taking a twist where you support the knees with your hand, you can just relax. Really nice thing to do. You could stay there. You might stay there for 5 minutes. You hit the pause button at any point during this video. You find a place that you like to be. That's where you want to be. Now again, I'm back up, giving it a wiggle, just playing around. Not much weight on my knee here, so it's a really safe place to help it get a little more mobile, help it feel like nothing bad's gonna happen here. We're relaxed, we're easygoing. I'm just giving you a squeeze, taking care of you. Now I'm just rolling onto my side. This is a little bit more, again, it's from Principles of Shiatsu, but it's something that you can just play with. I'm just finding some spots that feel good along the inside of my calf to bring my elbow into. Now I'm doing the same thing above the knee along the inside of my thigh. You can play around with that. You want to find ways that you're relaxed while you're doing that. So supporting yourself with your right hand here, you're just leaning on yourself. And this is the same thing you would do if you were treating someone else. You're letting you support you. And if it was someone else, you'd let them support you. So I'm not trying to pull any techniques that are terribly complicated here. Just finding a place to rest my forearm or my elbow, leaning into it. That can be a really great feeling thing, especially if you've got some pain, if you're recently injured, recently tweaked your knee. That can feel amazingly good, just to give a little attention and release some tightness that is your body's response to injury in the calf and in the thighs. Now I'm just moving easily, moving around the knees. I've got a little bit of weight. I'm just rolling around and playing. You can do the same thing standing, you can do the same thing in downward dog. So this idea of not holding tense on one leg or the other, but just rocking side to side gently. So there's a little weight on the joint, and then you let the weight out. Leaning left, a little weight on the left, a little weight out of the right side. So always wiggling, always rocking around, always a little weight on, a little release off. You can move around here a little bit as your knee starts feeling better. This is a nice way to, without a lot of weight on your knees, get back to complete range of mobility, 360 degrees of moving all around, left, right, forward, back, everything you can do with also a little weight in your arms. And then same thing here, rocking a little side to side, and then you've done it. So now you can keep your knees safe, whatever you're doing, and if you do hurt your knee, you know exactly how to bring it back to happy.